My name is Ethan Brooks, and the night everything snapped started with a toast under cheap patio lights. Madison Reed, my wife, the dazzling CEO who can turn a boardroom to butter, lifted her glass and smiled that platinum smile. Ryan Cooper, Marcus Hall, Tiffany James, and Hannah Lewis ringed the deck with our kids, Aiden and Sophie, chasing each other between lawn chairs. I was busy grilling, trying not to read the message glowing on Madison's unlocked screen. Grant W. Still buzzing from our after-hours cardio. Round too soon. The text sat there like a grenade with the pin pulled. Madison clinked her flute and said something slick about owning the room. And everybody laughed because confidence looks gorgeous on a woman who just bought a company before lunch. She swanned over to me, perfume like high tide and money. I held her gaze and I held her phone out. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. Her eyes narrowed, then sharpened into knives. "Don't be dramatic," she said, voice sugar and gasoline. And then, open palm, clean arc. She slapped me hard enough that the tongs fell from my hand and clattered on the deck. The world went quiet in that cartoon way where the edges go fuzzy. Aiden froze with a popsicle melting down his wrist. Sophie's mouth made a small, perfect O. Ryan stepped forward, but I lifted a hand. I was breathing, I was standing, and I was suddenly painfully awake. Madison's smile reappeared like a mask she kept in her pocket. "I run this house," she announced, voice bright, eyes black. "Everyone got that?" Laughter stumbled and died in people's throats. Tiffany glanced at me, then at the phone in my fist, and I could see the math happen behind her eyes. It wasn't the first hint. 3 weeks earlier, I'd smelled a stranger's cologne on Madison's blazer. Amber and smoke, not mine. 2 weeks back, Uber receipts had popped up in our shared email from a hotel bar we've never liked. Last Tuesday, Apple CarPlay read me a message from Grant Walker, yes, the Grant who loves talking EBITDA at parties, saying, "Your LV making equals your leadership. Relentless." Madison had laughed it off, called him a needy colleague. Then our bedroom went cold, our calendar full, and her team offsites started landing on every weekend I planned pancakes with the kids. "Give me my phone," Madison said now, all teeth. "You're embarrassing yourself." She was good at lying. She lied like a senator. Crisp, upright, hand over heart. "It's work, Ethan. Grant is pushing a deal." He jokes. You twist. Ryan coughed, a small thunder, and Hannah stared at the deck boards like they had secrets. Madison took a step closer, chin high, the CEO stance that makes venture capitalists swoon. "Grow up," she said, low enough for only me to hear. "Don't make me fix this the hard way." The doorbell rang. Sudden event number 1. I had asked my friend Marcus to call my lawyer, Jordan Price, after the Uber receipts. I didn't plan for Jordan to arrive in the middle of a backyard party, but Madison had forced my hand with that slap. Jordan stepped through the sliding door in a navy suit that meant business and a face that could cut glass. His briefcase clicked like a metronome counting down to impact. "Evening," he said, easy as Sunday. Madison's head tilted. The crowd sensed the weather changing. "You invited counsel to a barbecue?" Madison laughed, high and brittle. "Adorable." She reached for her phone again. I didn't hand it over. On the screen, another message bloomed. Grant W. "You left the earring in my Tesla. Door code 2279. The patio lights hummed. Somewhere a neighbor started a mower, oblivious to our domestic apocalypse. Madison's smile evaporated for a heartbeat, then came back meaner. "Photoshop," she said. "You're paranoid. Ryan, tell him men have fantasies." Ryan didn't move. He's known me since we were 13, since we broke Coach Bennett's clipboard and took the suspension together. He watched my hands shake, watched me steady them. "Madison," he said, "careful. Maybe step inside?" She shot him a look that would puncture a tire. "Stay out of my home," she snapped, and then to me, "Hand over. You want to talk about my fantasies?" I finally said, voice scraping low. "My fantasy used to be you and me on the porch at 70, arguing about bird feeders. Now my fantasy is proof, so I can stop asking myself if I'm insane." I turned the screen toward her in case she wanted to keep pretending. Her eyes flicked to Jordan. She didn't like the briefcase. The briefcase had consequences. Sudden event number 2, Jordan spoke up. Ms. Reed, Mr. Brooks asked me to stop by with some documents that require your signature. Clarifications to the post-nup you insisted on after your promotion. Madison laughed again, the kind of laugh that throws darts. Perfect, she purred. We'll make it quick. To the whole deck, she added. This is what happens when someone can't keep up. He calls reinforcements. Hannah flinched. Aiden's popsicle hit the planks. A sad comment. I should tell you about the night that locked everything in place. 2 days ago, Madison worked late. I kissed the kids goodnight and drove to her office with coffee because I am a boring, loyal man who still believed in us. The building was dark. She wasn't there. An hour later, an alert hit my phone from the hotel rewards app. Thank you for your stay, Ms. Reed. I drove to the hotel and sat in my car across the street like a ghost, watching the revolving door spit out suits and giggles. At 11:17 p.m., Madison emerged with Grant Walker, pressed close. His hand respectful in public but savagely familiar in the way her body tilted toward his. She kissed his cheek, then his mouth, quick, surgical. My stomach turned to ice. I didn't go in. I didn't shout. I took a photo. Then I took another. Back on the deck, Jordan opened the briefcase. Papers breathed. Madison squared her shoulders and whispered, "Pathetic." The word landed with the sting of that slap, but differently, like a label she wanted me to wear. She thrives on opponents. She makes them, then conquers them. She thought I would fold. She thought the old Ethan, the one who forgave, who waited, who made excuses, would stand here forever like a coat rack. The new Ethan was born the moment her palm met my cheek. Sudden event number 3. The family iPad buzzed on the coffee table, synced like all our devices. Notification preview, shared album. Grant added 2 items. Ryan saw it. Tiffany saw it. Madison lunged and scooped the iPad with a smile that could shatter stemware. Work photos, she chirped. Branding concepts. Don't be small. She looked at me like I was a stain you blot with club soda. Then she leaned in, whispering through her teeth. No one tells me what to do. I didn't whisper back. Jordan? I said, go ahead. He set the documents down next to the bowl of chips. Ms. Reed, he said. These filings freeze joint discretionary accounts pending review and confirm custodial schedules Madison herself outlined last year. Madison's mask flickered. The lights hummed louder. My cheek still burned, but another heat rose in my chest. Slow, steady, not rage so much as clarity. The party was over. The game had started. And for the first time in months, I felt the ground under my feet. You'd think betrayal wears a trench coat and creeps at midnight. Madison's wore a blazer and daylight. The first breadcrumb was small. A hotel charge in our shared email from Megan Clark in accounting. Forwarding receipts, Madison. I pinged Megan, casual. All staff offsite? She typed back, just the executive team. Executive team is 5 people. Grant Walker makes 6. Next breadcrumb. Our laundry basket. An extra long black hair on Madison's white blazer. Too long to be hers. She keeps hers in a sharp bob. I asked Ava Brooks, my sister, who has the forensic instincts of a bloodhound. She pinched it with tweezers, smirked. Not Madison's. Somebody named Amber, she joked. 2 days later, I smelled that same amber and smoke cologne on Madison's scarf. She said, new office diffuser, right, in her scarf. Sudden event number 1. The family iPad mirrored Madison's messages by accident. While Aiden streamed cartoons, a banner flashed, Grant W. Door code 2279. Aiden read it aloud. Sophie asked, who's Grant? I felt the floor tilt. Madison snatched the iPad and spun a quick lie. Team building. Escape room. Bitch a smile. Dismissive eyes. She's got a way of making truth feel childish. I went to her office with coffee that night. The building guard, Daniel Moore, glanced at the clock. She left early, Mr. Brooks. Early. The word thudded. I drove toward home and passed the Hilton on Madison Avenue. A frost of intuition stuck to me. I parked across the street, sat in the dark. At 9:42 p.m., Madison breezed out with Grant, her laugh bright enough to land planes. She gripped his jacket lapel like she'd bought it, and maybe him. A quick kiss, surgical, practiced. My ribs turned to glass. I took a photo, then another. My hands were steady. Inside, I was ash. Sudden event number 2. The next morning, Olivia White, our barista at Blue Cup, waved me over. "Weird," she said, sliding me 2 coffees. "Your wife already grabbed one for her husband." I blinked. "For who?" Olivia showed me the receipt. "Madison, 2 lattes, 1 for Grant." She winked, thought it was a joke. It wasn't. The cup had a heart on it. Olivia draws hearts for regulars, not strangers. I checked Madison's CarPlay history. An address starred Walker Auto Private Garage. Bold, dumb, public. In the glove compartment, I found a hoop earring, gold, not Madison's brand. When I confronted her later, she went full CEO. Clients gift weird things. Don't be needy. That word needy, she wields it like a whip. She kept moving goalposts until I couldn't even see the field. Sudden event number 3. A stray voicemail. Pure fate. Madison's phone butt-dialed during their elevator ride. I heard elevator chimes, Grant's chuckle, Madison's whisper. "You make me forget I have a house." Then muffled kissing. Then her saying, low and feral, "Again, but Messier." She giggled the way she used to with me, back when our weekends were a bonfire. She hung up. My heart did not. I started a quiet ledger. Dates, times, screenshots. Jordan Price, my lawyer, told me to stop narrating and start collecting. "Judges like clean lines," he said. "Not poetry." I wanted poetry. I was getting receipts. Sudden event number 4. Parent night at Jefferson Elementary. Student art lined the hallway. Sophie had drawn family. 3 figures under a sun. And a 4th, stick tall, labeled in blue marker, "Mommy's friend Grant." My throat closed. Principal Emily Harris gave me a sympathetic look she shouldn't have had yet. She knew. People always know before you do. All week, Madison kept the performance going, cool, biting, queen of the room. At dinner, she critiqued my plating like a judge on TV. In bed, she turned her back and said, "I'm tired." With the same tone she uses to behead egos at work. Every lie was a glass splinter. I kept swallowing. Then came the hammer. A shared album alert. Grant added 2 photos. Madison lunged for the iPad, smiled that vicious, shiny smile, and told me they were branding concepts. Concept 1. His hand on her waist in a mirror. Concept 2. Her mouth at his throat. Cropped, but obvious. Not explicit, but obscene in the way it mocked history. Betrayal wasn't hiding. It was waving, and I finally waved back. The slap was a starter pistol. Everyone froze, but Madison didn't. She thrived in conflict, especially the kind where she could humiliate me. "Grow up, Ethan," she hissed, just loud enough for Ryan and Tiffany to catch. "You're embarrassing yourself with your little conspiracy theories." I held up the phone, Grant's texts lighting the screen like neon sins. "Explain this. Explain why your colleague knows your Tesla code. Explain why my daughter drew him in our family portrait." My voice cracked, but not with fear, with fury. She snatched at the phone. I pulled back. "Don't touch me," I said. That landed. Her eyes narrowed, then she laughed. "Oh my God. Are you seriously jealous? That's adorable. You're like a wounded puppy. Everyone. Look at this man trying to play detective because he can't keep up with a real woman." Sudden event number 1. Jordan laid the documents on the table like weapons. "Ms. Reed," he said calmly, "these require your immediate attention." Madison's face hardened. She despised being cornered. "You brought a lawyer to a barbecue?" she snapped. "What's next, Ethan? Private investigators? Spyware?" "Already done," I said. Her mask slipped for half a second. Her nostrils flared. "You don't scare me," she muttered. The kids clung to Hannah's legs. Ryan whispered, maybe cool it. But I cut him off. No. Everyone here deserves the truth. Madison, tell them who Grant is. She rolled her eyes. Grant's a colleague. He's lonely. He texts. I humor him. That's it. But of course, my insecure husband turns it into an epic betrayal. You're pathetic, Ethan. Always have been. Sudden event number 2. The iPad buzzed again. New notification. Grant, miss you already. The room cracked. Tiffany gasped. Ryan swore under his breath. Madison lunged, yanked the device, and hissed. Fake. He fakes these. He's obsessed with me. I don't encourage it. Obsessed. I barked. You left your earring in his car. You stayed at his hotel. You kissed him in the street. Stop insulting everyone's intelligence. For the first time, her bitchy facade cracked into rage. So what if I did? She spat. Gasps broke the air. What if I wanted something more than a small-town man who grills burgers and files receipts? I'm the one who built this empire. I'm the one carrying us. If I want to blow off steam, I damn well will. The silence afterward was nuclear. The kids stared at her like she was a stranger. Ryan shook his head. Tiffany put a hand over her mouth. Sudden event number 3. Madison picked up a wine glass, raised it like a toast. Guess what, Ethan? I'm not your little housewife. I'm the CEO. I'm the new man in charge. You're decor. She downed the wine, slammed the glass on the table, and smirked. My cheek still burned from her slap, but inside something shifted. Anger stopped boiling and turned to ice. I looked at Jordan, then back at her. Then it's time the decor rearranged itself. The confrontation wasn't finished. It had only just drawn blood. The party ended without a goodbye. Friends slipped out like ghosts, whispering promises to call that I knew they wouldn't keep. Who wants to stand too close to a burning building? Ryan lingered the longest, hand heavy on my shoulder. He muttered. She's gone. Don't set yourself on fire trying to warm her. Then he left too. Inside, the house felt different. Not smaller, emptier, like someone had stolen the oxygen. Aiden sat on the couch hugging a pillow bigger than him. Sophie climbed into my lap and whispered, Mommy's mean. My chest cracked. I kissed the top of her head, but I didn't have an answer. That night, Madison locked herself in the master bedroom. She blasted music, cocky, upbeat pop songs, as if to drown out reality. I slept on the couch, phone in my hand, scrolling through proof like a masochist. Photos, receipts, texts, each one a blade I pushed deeper. Sudden event number 1. At 2:37 a.m., my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She's with me. Stop embarrassing yourself. Grant. My throat burned. I wanted to smash the phone, drive to his garage, tear him out by his perfect, gelled hair. But I stayed. Sophie's small hand was curled around my shirt. Revenge had to wait. Morning brought humiliation in daylight. Madison floated into the kitchen in silk pajamas, hair perfect, smile venom. Coffee? She chirped like nothing had happened. I didn't answer. She tilted her head. Oh, come on. Don't sulk. You made a scene. You'll get over it. You always do. Sudden event number 2. Aiden, usually quiet, slammed his juice box on the table. Stop being mean to Dad, he shouted. Madison blinked, startled, then snapped back. Don't you dare talk to me like that. The room went still. Aiden's face crumpled. Sophie started crying. Madison rolled her eyes, muttered, Dramatic, just like your father, and strutted back upstairs. That was the knife twist. Her cruelty wasn't just aimed at me anymore. It bled into the kids, staining them. That morning, I knew the line had been crossed. The emotional weight came in waves. First shock, the disbelief that the woman I built a life with could spit on it so casually. Then anger, white-hot, so bright it blinded me. But the worst was the sadness, the heavy kind that makes bones ache. I grieved like someone had died, except she was right upstairs, humming in the shower. I remembered our wedding day. Madison in lace, barefoot in the grass, swearing forever with eyes that seemed honest. I remembered our first apartment, both of us broke, eating noodles on the floor and laughing. When did that girl vanish? Or had she always been a mirage, and I was the fool who kept chasing? Sudden event number 3. Jordan called mid-morning. "The documents are filed," he said. "Accounts are frozen. Custody discussions can start whenever you're ready." His voice was steady, but mine cracked when I asked, "How do you stop loving someone who just destroyed you?" Jordan paused. "You don't stop. You redirect. Toward your kids. Toward yourself. Toward anything but her." That advice lodged in my chest. Madison wasn't just unfaithful. She was cruel, gleefully cruel. And cruelty doesn't deserve devotion. By evening, I wasn't angry anymore. I was ice. Madison strutted through the living room in heels, purse swinging, announcing she had a late meeting. I just looked at her and said, "Don't bother coming back." For the first time, she flinched. Not much, but enough. And in that flinch, I saw it. The empire was starting to crack. The morning after I told Madison not to come back, I expected silence. Instead, she stormed downstairs in her power suit like a general marching to war. She slapped car keys on the counter and smirked. "Cute performance, Ethan. You really think you can throw me out of my own house? I pay for this roof. I pay for those chairs. Hell, I pay for the toothpaste in your bathroom." Her words burned, but I didn't rise. I just pointed to the folder Jordan had left on the dining table. "You don't pay for family. You don't buy loyalty. You broke it. Now I'm breaking the contract." She scoffed. "Divorce? Please. You couldn't survive without me. What are you going to do? Live in your buddy Ryan's basement? Raise 2 kids on your salary? You're nothing without me, Ethan. Nothing." Sudden event number 1. Aiden came out of his room, dragging his blanket, eyes red from crying. "I'll live with Dad," he whispered. Madison froze, her smirk faltering for the first time in weeks. Sophie followed, clutching her stuffed bunny. "Me too," she said. Their voices were quiet, but the weight of them was thunder. Madison snapped back, trying to salvage control. "Don't manipulate the kids against me." I didn't flinch. "You did that yourself." The decision came sharper than I expected. I wasn't going to patch this marriage. I wasn't going to work through it or swallow her lies for the kids. The kids had already seen too much. They'd seen her slap me, call me pathetic, sneer at them. Staying would teach them love equals humiliation. No, not on my watch. Sudden event number 2. Jordan called with news. "She tried to move funds from the joint account this morning," he said. "The freeze stopped it. Classic move. Don't be surprised if she escalates." Escalate she did. By noon, Madison had posted a curated Instagram photo of herself with Grant at a charity gala, captioned, "Strong women don't apologize for wanting it all." She tagged me, tagged the kids' school, tagged her company. The comments flooded, praise from sycophants, whispers from skeptics, and one direct message to me from an anonymous account. "She's humiliating you on purpose. Don't let her." My phone buzzed again, Ryan. Don't look at the comments. She's trying to bait you." But I already had my decision. I wasn't going to shout online. I wasn't going to trade posts like teenagers. My war would be quieter, colder, and legal. Sudden event number 3. That evening, Madison came home drunk. She wobbled into the kitchen, heels clacking, Grant's cologne clinging to her. "You're so boring," she slurred at me. "Grant makes me feel alive. You make me feel old." Then she laughed, bitter and hollow, before collapsing onto the couch. I covered Aiden and Sophie's eyes as we carried them upstairs. Their silence said more than words. They knew. In the stillness of the night, I sat in the kitchen, pen in hand, signing the last of Jordan's papers. Custody requests, asset division, restraining clauses for harassment. Every stroke of the pen was a nail in the coffin of the life I thought I had. It didn't feel like losing. It felt like waking up. The decision was made. I would divorce Madison Reed, protect my children, and teach her, once and for all, that her empire couldn't crush me. And when the dust settled, She'd remember the night she slapped me as the moment her throne began to crumble. When you file for divorce against a woman like Madison Reed, it isn't paperwork. It's war. She strutted into the courthouse like it was another boardroom, Grant trailing behind her in a tailored suit, smirking like a sidekick in a bad movie. I almost laughed. The mighty CEO reduced to parading her affair like a trophy. Jordan leaned close to me. Keep your face neutral. Judges love calm. My fists itched, but I nodded. Calm. Sudden event number 1. The judge glanced at the evidence packet Jordan slid across the bench. Photos of Madison and Grant leaving the Hilton. The text thread with her laughing about after-hours cardio. The voicemail where she whispered she forgot she had a house. Madison's jaw tightened. For the first time, her lies didn't sound rehearsed. They sounded desperate. She launched into theatrics. Your Honor, my husband is manipulative. He's jealous, insecure. He's twisting harmless jokes into infidelity. Jordan countered, crisp. Then why did your daughter draw Grant into her family portrait? Why is your car parked overnight at his garage? Silence. Madison's eyes flicked toward me. Hatred, pure and raw. By noon, temporary custody leaned in my favor. Madison's face cracked like porcelain. She'd expected me to cave, to plead. Instead, I came with proof, with calm, with fire hidden under the ice. Back home, Aiden hugged my waist so tight I couldn't breathe. Are we safe now? He asked. I nodded even though I wasn't sure. Madison wasn't done. Sudden event number 2. 2 days later, paparazzi showed up at the driveway. Someone had tipped them off. Madison, of course. The headline the next morning, CEO Reed battles jealous husband in divorce drama. She painted me as the bitter small-town man dragging down a rising star. Friends I'd known for years unfollowed me overnight. Her empire reached everywhere. But empires rot from within. Employees began leaking whispers. Late-night tantrums, favoritism toward Grant, reckless spending. Tiffany texted me, half the board is furious. She's unraveling. Sudden event number 3. At the kids' school, Principal Harris pulled me aside. Mr. Brooks, Madison arrived this morning yelling at staff about custody. She frightened the children. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with sympathy. We've documented everything. Another nail in Madison's coffin. Nights were the hardest. Sitting on the couch, watching cartoons with Aiden and Sophie, I'd hear Madison's laughter in my head. The same laugh she gave Grant. My chest hollowed out. Rage flickered, then died into grief. I didn't just lose a wife. I lost the illusion of the woman I thought she was. But grief has a strange way of clearing vision. I started cooking dinners again, real dinners. Pancakes on Sunday. Board games at night. The kids smiled more. The silence of betrayal was slowly replaced with the sound of family healing. One evening, Aiden said, Dad, you're happier without Mom here. Stung, but he wasn't wrong. I hugged him and whispered, sometimes losing something isn't losing. It's making room. Madison thought she'd break me. She thought she'd stand on the ashes of our marriage and laugh. But the only thing burning now was her empire, and I was walking out of the fire alive. Madison never accepted defeat with grace. She doubled down, the way only a spoiled queen does when her crown starts slipping. Suddenly, glossy magazine interviews painted her as the misunderstood powerhouse. Balancing career and marriage is the hardest role of all, she sighed in one spread, wearing a diamond necklace big enough to blind a man. She forgot to mention the after-hours cardio with Grant. I stopped reading the articles, but I couldn't stop the kids from hearing whispers at school. Sophie came home in tears one afternoon. Mommy said you're boring, she whispered. Is that why she left? My heart cracked. No, Bunny, I said, kneeling to her height. She left because she wanted things that hurt us. That doesn't mean you're boring. That doesn't mean I'm boring. It means she made bad choices. Sudden event number 1, Jordan called with a bombshell. Grant's wife, yes, he had one, just filed against him. She wants to testify. Says Madison destroyed her family too. The universe has a wicked sense of humor. I almost laughed. Madison wasn't just a bitch. She was sloppy. Her lies bled into other lives, and now the wreckage was circling back to crush her. Still, she tried to claw control. She stormed my doorstep one evening, wearing her CEO armor, heels, suit, venom in her eyes. "Open the door, Ethan," she barked. I stepped onto the porch, arms crossed. "You can't keep me from my kids," she snapped. "You can see them," I said calm, "but you won't terrorize them. You won't scream at teachers. You won't drag them into your circus. The court already knows everything. Keep pushing, and you'll see less of them, not more." Her jaw clenched. Then came the smirk. "You think you've won? You're nothing but a placeholder. I'll rebuild. I'll outshine you. And those kids will beg to live with me when I buy their love." I almost pitied her. Almost. "Money doesn't buy respect, Madison," I said quietly. "And they've already chosen." Sudden event number 2. As if on cue, Aiden opened the door behind me, voice shaking but strong. "We don't want to live with you, Mom. You're mean." Sophie peeked out too, clutching her bunny, whispering, "Dad makes pancakes." The slap she'd given me weeks ago echoed in the silence between us. This time, the sting wasn't on my cheek. It was on hers. Her empire wasn't just cracking. It was collapsing in front of her children. She spun on her heel, muttering curses I won't repeat, and stalked to her car. Grant was waiting inside, hands on the wheel. Their headlights cut into the night, but the darkness quickly swallowed them. Sudden event number 3. Minutes later, my phone buzzed. A new email, anonymous. Attached were documents. Proof of financial misconduct inside Madison's company. Fake invoices, shady transfers, Grant's name all over them. No note, no sender. Just raw evidence. I forwarded it to Jordan. He called back within 10 minutes. "This isn't just divorce anymore," he said. "This is going to ruin her career." For the first time since the slap, I exhaled without pain. Madison had always believed she was untouchable. But now her lies, her arrogance, her cruelty, they were all boomeranging back. And I wasn't the one bleeding anymore. When the storm finally settled, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like crawling out of a collapsed building, lungs full of smoke, skin raw, but alive. Madison's empire cracked faster than I expected. The anonymous documents Jordan filed went straight to the board of her company. Within weeks, headlines shifted. CEO Reed under investigation for fraud. Her once glossy image now dripped with scandal. Grant disappeared like a coward when the heat came. Rumors swirled. He left town, his own marriage destroyed, his reputation in ashes. Madison, once the woman who slapped me in front of friends and called herself the new man in charge, now showed up in tabloids looking tired, her eyes hollow, no diamond necklace big enough to hide the ruin. Sudden event number 1. She tried one last move. Late one night, she called me. Her voice was small, fragile, so unlike the venom I'd come to know. "Ethan," she whispered, "I made mistakes. Maybe we can try again." The old me, the man who forgave, who bent, who believed in her promises, might have melted. But the slap still burned in my memory. The kids' tears still echoed. I stayed ice. "Madison, you didn't just make mistakes. You chose cruelty. Over and over. We're done," she cried. Real or fake, I couldn't tell anymore. Then she hung up. That was the last time we spoke beyond court-mandated exchanges. Life moved differently afterward. Slow at first. Mornings making pancakes with Aiden and Sophie became sacred rituals. Evenings on the porch, reading stories, became proof that family can heal even when it's been gutted. Their laughter stitched me back together. The emotional impact lingered. Betrayal doesn't vanish. It scars. Some nights I'd wake sweating, hearing her whisper to Grant in that voicemail. But over time, the scar became less about pain and more about warning. A reminder never to ignore the red flags, never to excuse disrespect in the name of love. Sudden event number 2. 6 months later, Ryan dragged me to a cookout. I almost didn't go. I was tired of pity stares. But I showed up. Tiffany clapped me on the back. "You look lighter, Ethan." Like someone finally took the weights off. She wasn't wrong. Madison's shadow no longer sat at my table. When people asked, I didn't tell them the whole messy saga. I told them one simple truth. She broke what she thought was unbreakable, and I built something stronger out of the pieces. My advice to anyone standing where I once stood? Don't ignore the little things. Don't excuse cruelty because it wears perfume and power suits. A slap isn't just a slap. It's a declaration of war. Lies aren't just cracks, they're wrecking balls waiting to swing. Sudden event number 3. One evening, Sophie tugged my sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, you're our hero." I almost cried right there, because in the end, it wasn't about revenge or proving Madison wrong. It was about showing my kids what respect looks like, what strength sounds like, and what love actually means. So yes, my rich wife, the CEO, tried to destroy me. She lied. She cheated. She slapped me in front of my friends and kids. But in the end, she only destroyed herself. And me? I walked out of the fire carrying the 2 people who mattered most. My children. Stronger than ever.